The expectation is every healthcare worker should receive some formal training every 2 years to improve and maintain their competency levels. Now you can imagine for the general public, they don't get that training. They don't have formal training as a background, and they don't get that training every 2 years to improve their competency levels. So that's us as BSEC, we are trying to bridge that gap and offer a platform for the community to acquire knowledge.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when emergencies happen, right, and we know they happen mostly multi-laying or wherever.
Yes.
Most of the time, we just look and step away.
Yes.
Right. What should we do? Should we make, especially when out on the tow truck, are the ones that I worry the most about.
Yes.
They are always the first on the scene.
Yeah.
But they don't have the skills. Should we go to them and start training them on these skills?
It is very prudent, not only on the tow truck drivers, but also the general public. If you look at it, nobody has formal training between the tow truck drivers and the general public. One of the most important things that we emphasize when it comes to emergency medical care, it's safety. And approaching a scene that's unsafe, it's something that we need to address in Botswana. I'll explain further as we go on in the interview.
All right, so let's look at, obviously, on that one. What do you mean by approaching a scene? What do we do in an accident scenario? What should we do?
So what should you do?
Let's say there's an accident and it just happened, and I happen to be there.
Yes.
Or something is bad guy.
Yes.
What should I do?
Yeah. So there is something called in emergency medical services, the chain of survival.
Yeah.
Now those are the series of steps that we should take to offer care to a patient that's acutely ill or injured. One of the first key things is a recognition of a patient that has a medical problem or an illness. And then the next step is activating the appropriate emergency medical response. So those are things that we need to address as the general public and the tow truck drivers.
Okay.
The second thing, if it's safe, is to proceed with something called CPR that I've already alluded to. And subsequent to that, while you're doing CPR, expectation is emergency medical services would come on board and guide you and take over the care of the patient to the hospital.
All right. So we've seen lately a growth in emergency response in Botswana.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Over time now, we are seeing a lot of private practitioners in this space.
Yes.
As an association, how do you see this? Is it a good thing that we should be seeing as a trend in Botswana?
I mean, emergency medical services coming out in Botswana, it's a good thing. But again, I think quality is of utmost importance. People that are playing part in emergency medical services should be well trained to offer such a service. So that's what us as Botswana Society of Emergency Care are trying to push towards. We are not only trying to impart knowledge to the community, we are also trying to bring forth healthcare providers to be appropriately trained periodically to ensure that the standard of care in Botswana is maintained.
Okay, and how do you make sure that happens? Because a lot of these companies are private. Is there a law or at least a policy that forces them to comply to every now and then, even at graduation? Is there a way that we force them to make sure before I hear you,
Yes, sir. I mean, there are certain institutions which oversee qualifications and competence of these healthcare professionals. We have the Botswana Healthcare Professional Council, which assesses and registers these healthcare professionals. We have Ministry of Health, which oversees the quality of care that's being provided by these healthcare professionals. So it's not entirely the mandate of BSEC. BSEC is coming on board to assist these institutions to uphold the level of care.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about outreach, right?
Yes, sir.
Between Gaborone and, let's say between Jwane, Usekoma and Kang,
yes,
there's almost no life. And between Kang and Khansi, there's completely no life there.
Yes,
there are people somewhere in there.
Yes.
But when the accident happens, they will hear the accident, they will come running.
Yes.
But they will have no skills.
No skills.
How do we start training these people on basics of responding? Because first of all, hawana network, hawana ambulance, clinic.
How should we
start working with these people to make sure they get a bit of training?
So as Botswana Society of Emergency Care, as you've learned, this Saturday we are hosting the first CPR and First Aid Day provided by BSEC. Okay. It's our mandate that such initiatives should not only be done in Botswana, in Gaborone only. We plan to extend such trainings in the near future to other areas, even remote areas, so that we can impart knowledge to the public. But certainly a platform like BTV provides them that chance to learn a few things about CPR and first aid care.
All right. Yes. So who do you find as your key partners in community? There's schools and the Khotla and so on. Okay. Do you see them as valuable partners for your association?
They are certainly valuable partners. As we are planning the commemoration on Saturday, we've had multiple stakeholders, both in the healthcare industry and even outside the healthcare industry, who've sponsored the event. They've bought stalls so that public can be educated on CPR and use of AEDs. So in the future, yes, we will involve obviously other communities, especially in rural areas. The Khotlas may be a platform where we can impart such knowledge as BSEC.
All right. So there are other roles that play part in this whole thing, first aid marshals and so on.
Yes, sir.
In workplaces. Is that a really enforced thing in Botswana? I should have, when I'm hiring people, I should have a fire marshal and a first aid marshal.
Okay. It depends on the context. Okay. If you do know, Botswana, the way we respond, emergency medical companies, which I won't mention on this platform, they're essentially hired to provide emergency medical services. When it comes to rescue, there's a mandate that's given to the fire department, and they work in unison when they attend to such patients, especially when there are challenges.
Okay, yeah. So let's look at obviously the day that you're celebrating this Saturday. Yes, tell us about it. Where is it happening, and how does one get to be a part of it?
Okay, so the event is happening on Saturday. This Saturday. It's going to start off at 5:30. It's going to start off with a sponsored walk, which is approximately 10 kilometers, going around phase 2 from Malapo Crossing and returning back to Malapo Crossing. Following the walk, there is going to be a CPR talk, and there's going to be a safety briefing as well as to how you should approach these emergency medical services. What we have done, these sponsors that I talked about have bought stalls, and there are different emergency medical topics which will be discussed by trained healthcare professionals from various institutions, hospitals, paramedic companies, as well as other institutions like Red Cross.
All right. Now, how do you encourage Botho, just in general, take up these particular trainings? Because I can imagine, accident,
yes, sir.
Everyone panics or takes pictures.
Yes, sir.
That's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
How do we encourage them to go into this, and how best can we, especially tow truck guys, how can we get these guys to take this kind of trainings?
I mean, that's policy.
Yeah.
BSEC obviously has a mandate to not only impart knowledge, but also to create a platform where we can do research and have informed decisions in future. So this initial event is basically calling not only on the community, but also the tow truck drivers to come on board. Like I said, I'd mention some of the topics that are going to be discussed on Saturday. There's going to be allergies, myocardial infarctions, which are heart attacks. There's going to be strokes. There's going to be approach to snake bites. There's going to be approach to drownings, road traffic accident, what you should not do, what you should do. There'll be a stall specifically for that purpose. And the CPR and First Aid Day is not only for road traffic accidents, mind you. Yeah. It's for all emergencies, medical, trauma, all emergencies will be included in
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's take your last word on that, and then let's get a bit of an understanding and overview of the association and how someone gets to reach out to the association.
Okay. So the Botswana Society of Emergency Care is an association that we revamped in the year 2023. We're excited about revamping it because Botswana was nominated to host the African Federation of Emergency Medicine Conference, which is coming up in November. So that was one of our drives to really revive this community. And we feel that that conference coming here will not only impart knowledge to us as healthcare providers, but also raise awareness about emergency medical services in Botswana and how we can improve them. it's a chance for us to engage with various key stakeholders from developed countries on how we can improve our services in Botswana.
All right. So thank you very much, and again, best of luck with your event.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
And that marks the end of our conversation with Dr. Matilo. Thank you for watching.
In May of 2011, the government took a deliberate decision to develop the Special Economic Zones policy for Botswana, the purpose of which was to give impetus to the rollout of the exercise of diversifying the economic and export base of Botswana into sectors that would continue to grow long after diamonds have run out. The policy sets forth its guiding principles, which mostly critically include competitiveness and attraction of investment flows, diversification, business clustering, and efficiency. Following the development of the policy, government took a decision to develop the special economic zones further by drafting a legislative framework in the mold of the Special Economic Zones Authority Act, which came to life in 2015, detailing the authority's functions. The persistent prioritization